So as I said, I make these videos. So I was just thinking, I always try to look through the eyes of a healed person or someone in the image of Christ. So remember in one of my past videos, I had stated that the enemy uses familiarity. So your past relationships, what I said, like sometimes it's not even a personal vendetta. You have to remember when your past relationships, if you are in Christ now and they're not all the way there in their walk, if they're not healed, they're not set free, they're not delivered, they have unforgiveness. Something, or, remember this or remember that, or you used to, or, because I don't think a lot of it's even willful. I think a lot of it just comes through the state of their existence, the rebellious nature, or envy or jealousy. It's just part of their tongue, the tongue of the crafty. They become crafty in their tongue because their heart's been hardened. So it's just the variable of their existence. Outside, their sins have separated from the face of God, whatever, if those sins were willful or unwillful, or maybe the disappointments and failures. Because looking back at my life, when I was an unhealed person, or before I came to this cross and was set free, and this is where the differentiation occurs, the separation, because I still will talk to people from my past experiences or relationships because I have forgiveness in my heart, and no longer things that were trivial to me no longer bother me because I'm in the image of Christ, or, I'm not in that state of rebellion, so this is where I was finding irony in my life because, I would talk to someone that I had a prior relationship with or past experience with, whether it be years, months, whatever the case may be, and, they would talk of things like, remember this or remember that, and I'm like, for me, I was like, to me, in my mind of Christ, I was like, why are we talking about this? Why are we bringing this up? I found awkwardness in it, but then I prayed about it last night, and I'm like, you know what? They're unhealed. They're unhealthy. They're bringing it up because these factors are still undealt with to them. Nothing personal. It's actually a personal battle, their war within that they're fighting, because they can't get past it. They can't heal from it. They can't. They've succumbed to that, and it's like they're stuck in that. They're gaslighting themselves. And I remember, like, this is where you'll have to remove yourself. Bad company corrupts good morale. It can't be unequally yoked, because if you stay too long around people that are unhealthy with their mind or tongue, it will have a relevancy in your life. It will take its toll. It will be derogatory to your nature, to your healing. And this is why I look back and think, wow, everybody thought I was isolating myself. It wasn't an isolation, I assure you of that. I just removed and separated certain things out of my life so that I can have the peace required of me to walk in this narrow path. And that's why it says you need a comforter, because your circle will get very small, because you're no longer desiring the things that you used to. One, and two, you can't be around people that are always offensive or defensive to your well-being, your emotional and mental stature. Because remember, emotional and verbal abuse are just as bad, and some people don't take into consideration the little things that become big things when you're walking with Christ. So this is something I wanted to preach on this morning, because I'm like, I've looked back at a lot of relationships because my motives are pure. I want them to find healing, and I remember the nature of the relationship, or the things that I look back and think what they were going through or what we went through together, and I think, wow, I hope they healed past that state of immaturity, not only physically but spiritually. So I'll get in contact with them and say, and a lot of people that are in the dark, like, why are you contacting me? Don't you remember? Or, and I'm like, well, I just wanted to pray for healing and unity in your family. And I always tell them I'm in Christ now, and I pray for everybody. And I just wanted to check back, because remember, we get saved to go to, when we look back, it's to save people. We don't get saved to just sit on it. So I think about all the people that were a part of my life that I want to look back upon and say, well, I hope you're doing well in life now. I can recall these things, or not to deplete their resources or hurt them. But this is where you have to realize they're in the state of their existence. It's not anything you're doing. It's something they can't get past or heal from. And this is where it becomes very unfortunate. And you're in the mourning and sackcloth for them because they can't relate to you. They're just not there. Whether it, and I'm not saying they don't want to be, but a lot of people go through failures and disappointments, and they can't get to where they need to be in their mind and heart from those disturbances. Like I said, there might be willfully people doing it, because they could say the evil person is not happy unless they're causing some division, like misery seeks company. There are people that get so hardened maybe sometimes that just can't find peace in themselves and will destroy others because they're in a state of rebellion. Or, I'm not happy, so I don't want you to be happy. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's not intentional, where they're just talking about things that, to me, is like craftiness, because life and death is in the power of the tongue, like they say. If you're speaking about all these things that are derogatory to your well-being or past memories that failed you. I mean, my memories are my memories. I have them. They don't go away. But my focus is not on them so much anymore. I'm focusing on life, not death. So, and this is where you'll have familiarity in your past relationships, and the death speeches will come. The craftiness will come. The rebellion will come. The hatred, or the divisional conversations that people get stuck on. And like I said, I always tell people, your life don't fall apart overnight. You're not going to regroup overnight. But you start somewhere. The healing begins when you decide to separate yourself from the confusion and chaos and disorder and unhealthy relationships. Not because you want bad for them, but because you want better for yourself. Like I said, I found unforgiveness in me to get better, so I didn't turn bitter, because I had to forgive people that probably may never be sorry, because I always say this: hurt people hurt people. Broken people break people. Healthy people don't go around destroying other people's lives or talking about vile or derogatory things and, corrupt communication, profanity. He said, she said, the gossiping, the slandering, the busybody, the things that come from the kingdom of darkness that causes trials in people's life, that puts people in disorder and confusion and brings chaos into one's lives. But so many people get immune to these things that they don't realize that they become a weapon formed against themselves, and so this is why a lot of times I shut conversations down, as I've said, because if we're going to talk about people and gaslight others and be manipulative and cunning in our tongue, like a crafty tongue, a serpent tongue, I can't do it because I've come too far and I know what it's like to be done that way. So this is when, like I say, once you've overcome and conquered certain behaviors and lifestyles in your own life, you'll see the narrative in others, not because, like I say, you want to hurt them, but it's like a sound mind. You're going to want to sway away from people that keep living in that derogatory nature, and it's pulling you back into darkness. Bad company corrupts good morale. Do not be unequally yoked. You can't drink the cup of devils and drink the cup of Lord. Drinking the cup of devils is a lot. I mean, like I said, there are your blasphemers, but there are people who are just devilish in their nature, with hardened hearts to other people's feelings. They don't have empathy or compassion. I have righteous anger. I get upset. The Lord was angry with the wicked every day. It's a God-given emotion. But I believe our nature of handling it is different. We're not flipping out. We have control of our tongues. We're not using profanity. We're not belittling it. You're no good. We're not doing those things. We have control of our members, our anger, our tongue, I'll tell you something if I feel that way. But this is where people are rebellious, where they don't have communication skills opened, because they're hardened their heart to other people's feelings, and that comes with that territory. And I'm like, if you can't listen to what I say or respect my healthy boundaries, I have to remove myself or you out of my life. This is where the separation occurs, because, like I say, you'll date the same person or hang around the same people until you heal the parts of you that finding those things desirable or undesirable, whatever the case may be. So as you heal, you'll want to be around healed people. You want to be around people who are speaking life. So this is where the tares and the wheat come in, or the sheep and the goat, or the healed and the unhealed, the rebellious to the unrebellious, the image of Christ to Belial, so this is where, and I'm not saying everybody prays for that Belial image, because there's a lot of people who have been through failures and disappointments, some since the moment they won't enter the earth or entered the, out of the womb. As I've said about, unwanted pregnancies, this can happen sometimes, where a mother is being a mother, but unwittingly, and there's a envy or hatred between the child. The bond never exists. So there's a lot of things that I take into consideration, and I look at people's upbringing, and that's not because I'm naive, but I always take other people's feelings into consideration, thinking what might be the possibilities of their despair, because that's the love of Christ in me. And in Christ, we don't want anybody to be belittled, degraded, demeaned, depleted of their. That's why I talk about emotional and mental witchcraft. I speak as a spiritual person, because emotional and mental witchcraft could just be someone rebellious in their nature. That's he saying, she saying, they did, he did. What the person next door, coveting thy neighbor, or doing to others you want done unto you. Love your neighbor as yourself. You don't do that. You don't talk about people. If you get up and put someone down to make yourself feel powerful or evil, if you're not causing division in someone's life, that doesn't make you a better person than anybody. Actually, if you're a healed person, that's going to look like a weakness. It is the weakness in your character. You have a character default. You have a flaw, because you're actually going to push the good people out of your life in that state of an existence. You can't get unconditional love if you're unconditionally hateful. So these are things, as examine and judge yourself. Take the motes and beams out of your own eye. You can't sit there and condemn and critique and micromanage somebody else's life when yours is in despair. That's why I always say the Lord's not going to use someone in sin to correct you out of sin. You have to take not counsel from the wicked. Make sure that you're not taking counsel from an ungodly person who hasn't even figured it out for themselves. They can't give you something they don't have. They haven't achieved that victoriousness or greatness.